Top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts Bringing Value Home. GECOM chair accused of unilaterally usurping Commission's authority on Elections Day announcement. GECOM still to make concerted effort to address recommendations from 2020 elections. Azruddin Mohamed officially enters presidential race. We must reject tribal voting, he says, and let us invest more in our young people and build a nation rooted in justice and democracy, says Keewway Copeland. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm ALETHEA Grant with the Tuesday, 27th May 2025 edition of the HGP Nightly News. This is what you need to know this evening. Opposition-nominated commissioners on the Guyana Elections Commission on Tuesday said they were blindsided by chairs green-lighting a date for general and regional elections. More details from Daisy Richards.
Speaking during a press conference on Tuesday, opposition commissioners sitting on the Guyana Elections Commission GECOM's board said that the Guyana Election Commission's chairperson, Claudette Singh, unilaterally decided to engage government on a date for the holding of the general and regional elections.
Public discourses seems to suggest that in fact she was speaking on behalf of the commission, which was not the case because our last meeting we were still discussing a plan.
Vincent Alexander was joined by Charles Corbin and Desmond Trotman. Alexander also pointed out that the commissioners had no prior knowledge about the announcement of an election date.
We were not aware of the president making an announcement. Like the public, we became aware of an announcement when the president did so in his Independence Day speech.
Asked whether legal action can be taken given GECOM's chair unilateral decision, Alexander was unable to provide clarity.
So there's a legal problem here in terms of what legal action can be taken, and we will have to leave that to the legal people to make a determination if there is scope.
President Irfan Ali, in his Independence Day speech, announced that September 1 will be Guyana's general and regional elections. According to the president, his announcement was based on previous discussions with GECOM's chair. For HGP Nightly News, I am Daisy Richards.
Meanwhile, the opposition-appointed commissioners sitting on the Guyana Elections Commission on Tuesday said no efforts were being made to address the more than 20 recommendations for improvements following the 2020 regional and general elections. Here again is Daisy Richards.
Earlier on Tuesday, opposition-appointed Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM's commissioners highlighted that the date for elections as announced by President Irfan Ali presents challenges for the commission. Desmond Trotman, one of the commissioners, highlighted that the commission is yet to address some 22 recommendations from the previous elections.
For the improvement of the electoral process in Guyana going forward, in fact, I think there were 22. And one of the things those recommendations considered was the list, which it was spelled, was top heavy.
The opposition-appointed commissioner said a number of items on the list should have been addressed.
And as far as I know, it has not even attempted to have the kind of consorted discussion of those recommendations, from which GECOM itself can make recommendations to have improvements in the law.
He added that consideration should be placed on the alleged bloated voters list.
The present list is top-heavy and will not result in fairness in relation to the election.
The 2020 general and regional elections were marred with irregularities, and following those elections, GCOM had received recommendations from the European Union and the Commonwealth highlighting the need for urgent electoral and constitutional reform to properly address, quote, polarization of the nation, including the merits and demerits of the Elections Commission and the electoral system, unquote. There were also recommendations from the Organization of American States and the Carter Center. For HGP Nightly News, I am Daisy Richards.
Thank you, Dacia. The 2020 elections fraud trial resumed on Tuesday with explosive testimony on day 14 as Assistant Commissioner of Police Edgar Thomas revealed under cross-examination that he destroyed his official police diary, which contained critical information about election events. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
Day 14 of the election fraud trial continued on Tuesday, with Assistant Commissioner of Police Edgar Thomas returning to the witness stand, where he faced intense cross-examination by defense attorneys Nigel Hughes and Ronald Daniels. Attorney Hughes began by questioning Thomas on whether he had made any written records of his communication with Deputy Commissioner Maxine Graham on March 5, 2020. Thomas said he had documented events in his official Guyana Police Force GPF diary, but admitted the diary was no longer in his possession, claiming it had gone missing 4 years after the elections. When pressed further on whether he had reported the diary missing, especially given the sensitive information it contained, Thomas confessed that he had not. He instead disclosed that he destroyed the diary due to its classified content. The Assistant Commissioner also admitted that no police investigator had ever questioned him about events that occurred at the operations room or at the Ashman's building during the 2020 elections. On the cross-examination by attorney Ronald Daniels, Thomas acknowledged that he had disobeyed orders from his senior officers to vacate the command center. Daniels proceeded with a series of questions aimed at highlighting inconsistencies in the witness's conduct during the disputed election period. The charges in this high-profile case stem from widespread investigations into the 2020 general and regional elections, which were tainted by allegations of electoral fraud and political turmoil. Several former officials of the Guyana Elections Commission GCOM and political operatives are on trial, accused of conspiring to alter the outcome of the vote. In total, the defendants are facing 19 charges linked to alleged acts of electoral fraud. The prosecution has signaled its intent to call approximately 73 witnesses as it builds its case. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Tiana. More news after this break. Stay with us.
Meet Mom. She's not just the wake up at the crack of dawn, make breakfast and pack bags kind of mom. She also gets her fitness game on.
Welcome back. You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Hours after Guyana's president announced the date for general and regional elections, a former friend of the People's Progressive Party civic, now political foe, has officially entered the presidential race. Travis Chase reports.
After galvanizing much public support, especially in the electoral stronghold of the People's Progressive Party civic, businessman and philanthropist Azruddin Mohamed has officially declared his candidacy for the presidency in the general and the regional elections set for September 1.
My fellow Guyanese, today I stand ready to raise my hand, put my shoulder to the task, and dedicate my mind and heart to building a world-class Guyana, where every citizen is treated equally.
The official announcement was released via a video on Mohamed's Facebook page Monday evening. Mohamed made an appeal that should he be elected president of Guyana, that the wide gap between the rich and the poor will be bridged.
Eggs have become too expensive for egg ball, meat too costly for pepper pot and cook-up. These families are not dazzled by red carpets rolled out for foreign entertainers. And while their own struggles go unnoticed, this is about protecting our children from Madia to Berbice to ALETHEA. It's about lifting our people out of poverty.
The presidential hopeful urged Guyanese to move beyond traditional racial and political divisions to help create a truly equal Guyana where anyone who aspires can run for office and not be hunted or persecuted.
But leadership that serves only itself will lift only a handful of people while offering crumbs from its table to the masses.
He said Guyana's natural resources are limited, but it's the people who hold limitless potential.
The oil beneath our waters is temporary. The gold in our ground will one day be exhausted. But the potential in our people, that's renewable, that's permanent.
According to Mohamed, 2025 elections represent a turning point, one where citizens must rise above fear and division to chart a new path for the country. In June 2024, the U.S. Department of Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control imposed sanctions on Mohamed, his father Nazar Mohamed, and their company Mohamed's Enterprise. The sanctions were based on allegations that between 2019 and 2023, Mohamed's Enterprise underdeclared over 10,000 kilograms of gold exports. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Travis. In a move to bolster national security and modernize its defense infrastructure, the government of Guyana has announced major investments in cutting-edge technologies, including drone systems and artificial intelligence-powered threat detection. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
As part of efforts to modernize and strengthen the country's security framework, President Irfan Ali announced that the government of Guyana will invest in drone technology and AI-driven threat detection systems. The initiative was unveiled during his address to the nation in observance of Guyana's 59th independence anniversary and will focus heavily on enhancing border defense and overall national security.
The national security transformation will see technology driving our security architecture. Satellite, radar, drone technology, AI-driven threat detection and intelligence analysis.
President Ali further emphasized that these investments will be directed at enhancing border security by integrating both technology and human resources.
Greater presence on our border through technology and human assets. Investment in maritime, aerial, and terrestrial assets, enabling confidence and trust in the security system.
Additionally, the head of state revealed that the government will roll out digital solutions in several areas, including traffic safety, case management, and cyber resilience, while also focusing on human capital development within the security forces.
And all of this will be done whilst empowering our men and women in uniform, giving them more benefits. Building our human capital is giving them a good standard of living and good access to training opportunities also.
President Ali stated that the transformation of the security sector must be rooted in a service-oriented and community-led approach to ensure long-term effectiveness and public trust. He also stressed that these security enhancements are intended to protect the country's citizens and natural resources, not to threaten others.
Our partners in CARICOM, SOUTHCOM, South America, and all other partners will be part of our journey towards a safe and secure nation and region.
Both the Guyana Police Force GPF and the Guyana Defense Force GDF have begun utilizing drone technology as part of their operations. In April, the agencies launched a joint initiative titled, quote-unquote, Eyes in the Sky, which uses drones to strengthen surveillance and increase their presence within the city. Tiana reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned, we have more news for you on the other side of the break. Welcome back. You with the HGP Nightly News. As we continue, President Irfan Ali, in a visit to Lima Sands in Region 2, announced a 4-lane road expansion project for that region. Dacia Richards reports.
Speaking to residents in Limasand Region 2 on Saturday, President Irfan Ali announced plans for a 4-lane highway as there is a significant increase in traffic along the Essequibo coast.
Not only to resurface the highway, the main highway in Essequibo, and we are now working in a plan to expand the road into a 4-lane road, so you will have your modern, state-of-the-art 4-lane highway right here in Essequibo also.
That would only be the beginning for development in the region, as President Ali also announced further plans to increase connectivity with several regions.
And we are building out the connectivity in the interior, the connectivity from Parika, from Timeri to the Sand Hill Trail. All of this, the Del Conte route.
The head of state added that new opportunities will also be provided to help Region 2 flourish.
And connecting your region and your economy in a better way, in a more integrated way with the rest of the economy of the country.
He further added that these new developments will benefit families and residents young to old, as the government seeks to address transportation costs in the region. For HGP Nightly News, I am Daisy Richards.
Let us invest more in our young people and push towards a Guyana that is more self-reliant and rooted in justice and democracy. That was the charge by Keewway Copeland, who was recently elected chairman of the Forbes Burnham Foundation. Antonia Day has that story.
Let us continue to honor Forbes Burnham's vision, a Guyana that is self-reliant, united, and rooted in justice and democracy. Let us invest in our young people, protect our sovereignty, and manage our resources wisely.
That was Keewway Copeland, chairman of the Forbes Burnham Foundation. Copeland, in a video statement in celebration of Guyana's 59th independence anniversary, urged citizens to forge towards unity in the midst of adversity. The young man said citizens must stand firm and embrace the country's motto, one people, one nation, and one destiny.
Let us be each other's keepers. On this Independence Day, may we be reminded of where we came from, and more importantly, where we must go.
Meanwhile, the Alliance for Change in its Independence Day message stated, and I quoted, "The recent actions by the Venezuelan government, including the purported conduct of electoral activities in the imaginary Essequibo region, represent a grave violation of international law and an affront to the rule of law. We remain steadfast in our reliance on peaceful, legal mechanisms, including the ongoing proceedings before the International Court of Justice. Let it be clear that Guyana will never waver in its commitment to defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity. On this Independence Day, we reaffirm our unity as one people, one nation with one destiny. We call on all Guyanese at home and abroad to stand in solidarity and vigilance. Let this moment remind us that our freedom, hard-earned and deeply cherished, must be defended, not just with words, but with courage, clarity, and unwavering resolve," the AFC noted. Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs Amanso Wharton Desir, in her Independence Day statement, also said that given that elections is set for September 1 of this year, Guyanese must look beyond glitter and noise and look beyond big budgets and examine policies. I'm Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned for regional news.
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the Regional News. Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett on Monday said talks should be held with the gang leaders in Haiti as efforts continue to end the security and political crisis in the French-speaking Caribbean community CARICOM country. Haiti has been plagued with violent gang activities ever since President Jovenel Moïse was assassinated at his private residence on July 7, 2021. Kenya has deployed a multinational security support MSS mission to Haiti after the United Nations Security Council passed the resolution in support of the initiative to combat gang violence and restore order. The mission, which began in June 2024, involved at least 800 Kenyan police officers, initially deployed as part of a planned 2,500-person force. The force's mandate is to support the Haitian National Police in combating the violence and restoring security in the country, where gang have seized control of much of the capital and other areas. Authorities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines have launched an investigation following the discovery of a vessel with what appeared to be decomposed human remains found washed ashore. According to a press release from the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, RSVGPF, the vessel was located in the vicinity of Little Bay, Cherry Hill, between 10 a.m. and 10:45 a.m. on Monday. During the initial examination of the vessel, what appeared to be decomposed human remains were found on board, the release confirmed. The identities of the deceased and the circumstances surrounding the discovery remain unknown at this time. Police say the matter is under active investigation. Mexico's electoral authority is investigating complaints that political groups, including ruling party Morena, are trying to sway voters in the upcoming judicial elections, an official at the body said. Mexicans will head to the polls on Sunday to choose among roughly 5,000 candidates vying for more than 840 federal judge and magistrates positions, including all Supreme Court justices. There will be Mexico's first ever judicial elections. Electoral rules dictate that candidates cannot use campaign materials that link them to a political party, participate in events organized by political parties, or accept donations of any kind. The investigations come after videos of people passing out pamphlets circulated on social media. Mexico's first ever judicial elections, the result of a reform proposed by former President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, have attracted criticism that they risk removing checks and balances on the ruling Morena party and could allow organized crime groups greater influence over the judicial system. Thank you for watching. I am Tiana Cole.
GCOM chair accused of unilaterally usurping Commission's authority on Elections Day announcement. GCOM still to make concerted effort to address recommendations from 2020 elections. Azruddin Mohamed officially enters presidential race. We must reject tribal voting, says the politician, and let us invest more in our young people and build a nation rooted in justice and democracy, says Keewway Copeland. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm ALETHEA. Thanks for watching.